Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Kahaloyim Yahweh, Basham Yahweh Shai, Basham Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who taught us well. Salutations to the Akim and the Four Winds, preaching in truth and sincerity, risking their lives more now than ever. To the Israelite foreigners who phenotype, who look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel and came back to the fold, Shalom. To the sister Akwaf, listening and learning, Shalom in silence. This your brother Aram Yahawad with the lesson. And these so-called elites, these rich billionaires are set to try to escape judgment.
Founder Jeff Bezos is just hours away from liftoff as he prepares to make history tomorrow on Blue Origin's first passenger flight to space. The flight will send the Blue Origin team 62 miles above the Earth. ABC's transportation correspondent Gio Benitez is near the launch site in Texas with more.
Why choose this as our goal?
10, 9, ignition sequence start.
And they may well ask, why climb the highest mountain?
2, 1, liftoff on Apollo 11.
We choose to go to the moon and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard.
Just 62 years after the Apollo moon landing that inspired a generation, Blue Origin is officially cleared for liftoff at 9 a.m. Eastern Time tomorrow morning.
New Shepard is ready to fly.
This rocket's set to take off with Amazon founder Jeff Bezos and history makers on board. The crew of 4 seeing the New Shepard for the first time over the weekend. Bezos will be accompanied by his brother Mark and 82-year-old Wally Funk, who started this journey over 60 years ago as part of the Mercury 13 Women in Space program, but never got her chance to fly.
I'm going to be in that window!
Now she will become the oldest person in space.
You're going to be an astronaut. Oh, finally!
The 3-night stay in one of its luxury villas will cost you $5 million. Every inch of this low-orbit station exudes extravagance, from the activity module to the hotel suites. There is even a high-end restaurant where you can partake in upscale fare and freeze-dried astronaut food. Space construction company Orbital Assembly spared no expense building Voyager Station. The shuttle is approaching the docking hub. Are you ready for a tour of the most luxurious spaceport in the galaxy? Before we head inside Voyager Station, let's take a look at the exterior. In the center of the space station, you'll notice the docking hub where passengers and cargo are unloaded. It looks like both the Hotgate and Darkside docking ports are in use now, as this is one of the days new supplies are brought to the station. See that long network of spokes connected to the docking hub? That's the outer ring truss. It sort of looks like a bicycle wheel and acts as a backbone of Voyager. Solar panels and radiators are mounted to the outer truss, and along the inner circumference is a rail transport system that is used by astronauts when completing repairs. Those 4 long pillars that run from the docking hub to the outer ring are access tubes. They will allow us to travel from the docking hub to the habitation ring. You'll see that there are 24 modules attached to the habitation ring. There's also an access tube that runs along its circumference, so we can easily travel from module to module. It looks like the crew is finished unloading the cargo, so now we're ready to dock. Once the docking arms lock us in place, we'll be able to disembark. Voyager Station rotates to produce artificial gravity, but it won't be like on Earth. You'll still experience a sense of weightlessness, as Voyager's gravity is just 1/6 the level of Earth. Let's head down one of the central access tubes to the habitation ring. This pressurized model contains a luxury villa. A 3-night stay costs about $5 million, but you'll get a better deal if you stay longer. If you want to stay for a week, you'll have to fork over $10 million. 1 month will set you back about $15 million. Of course, if you have the cash to spend, why not buy a villa for yourself? They're only $250 million. That's nothing. Each 500 M2 luxury villa features cooking facilities, 3 bathrooms, and sleeping accommodations for up to 16 people. Wouldn't you like to own your own personal mansion in space? Let's follow the access tube to a module that houses hotel suites. If you're on a budget, you can save some money by staying in a hotel hotel suite instead of a luxury villa. The $1 million price per week may seem expensive, but keep in mind, private space travel can typically cost $25 million per person, so you're actually getting a deal. Question mark? Each hotel suite comes with a private bathroom and offers 30 m2 of living space, which can accommodate 2 people. Best of all, you'll get a stunning view of Earth. Voyager can accommodate 440 guests, but demand is high. If you want to visit again, you'll have to plan in advance. Let's follow the access tube to the gym and activity module. The recreation hall in this module.
This is Isaiah chapter 14, verse 12. How are thus fallen from heaven, O Lucifer? Lucifer is going into what is the Illuminati, right? It means light bearer, right? Illuminated ones, right? Because this is gross darkness to people, right? Except for the elect, right? And even at one point in time, even the elect was dark, right? So the only illuminated ones at one point in time were the elite. But now that the Lord has woken us up, where the real Illuminati dealing with the elect, or the hopeful elect, who's going to be the elect, right? Real shortly. So that goes into Illuminati. So let's see what it is. So I'm in the blue letter for Lucifer. So yeah, we're here. Isaiah 14:12. And click right here, hit right here. Let's see Lucifer.
Strong's H 1966. Haleo. Haleo.
Haleo. Right? Which is Lucifer, light bearer, right? If it's darkness and you bear the light, you're able to see why someone who don't have a flashlight or generator or anything, that basically what they're talking about finna happen soon anyway. They're talking about blackouts and nationwide no 911. So even 911 is going to be out, and the lights and the water. So no water, no lights, and no 911, right? Real soon. But if you have a light, right, you're able to shining one, right? Morning star, right? Of the king of Babylon and Satan, right? And Satan means what? Adversary, our enemy. And the king of Babylon, it really goes back to these international bankers, even though Babylon is America. So technically the puppet king of Babylon is Joe Biden at this moment, right? He's a front man as pretending to be the king of Babylon, right? And it, you know what I mean? Let's see what this, going to this, right? To shine, right? God's favor, right? And was said, the earth is given, right? Because that's favor. The earth is given into the hands of the wicked, right? That's God's favor, Yahweh's favor. To flash forth as light, right? Right? And the Lord said that he saw Satan go down like a flash of lightning, right? And that's how you're gonna go down to the ground, right? But another thing for this is see.
Strong's H 1984. Halal.
Same exact
Halal.
word, right? Because I thought it might have been a little bit different, but it's pretty much the same word. To praise, boast, be boastful, right? And is that not the elite? The elite is very proud and they're very boastful. They boast for it so much that they put it in movies before they do it. Before you were in a scamdemic, they had movies about it, right? Yeah, so how are thus fallen from heaven, right? Which means rulership of the world, of the earth. O Lucifer, which is dealing with the Illuminati, son of the morning, how are thus cut down to the ground, which did weaken the nations, right? Because they went all around the world making people where they can't eat, or putting them in debt, right, through the international bankers, putting everyone in debt, so everybody's a debtor, a slave, right? Went from just the so-called Israelites being slave to the world being slaves as debtors, to paying taxes to the international bankers, right? And then he's not stopping there. He wants to chip you, right? So, How are this fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning, right? Which means to be brightness, having rulership. How are thus cut down to the ground, right? The Lord said he's seen them as lightning coming down to the ground, which did weaken the nations. For thus has said in thy heart, which is Lob, which is your mind, I will ascend into heaven, right? That's the main verse what I was trying to get into, dealing with your international space stations and your hotels and mansions in outer space or whatever, right? Which are really it's a way to deceive people, to make it look like you're just doing hotels or you're doing something like that, but really it's a way for you to escape, you to escape into heaven, right? Trying to be delivered from the ICBM missiles. And I will set Slakia. Send into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of Yahweh, right? Which is, this thing is like twofold, because one the Israelites are the stars, and then two, it's talking about the actual stars, right? They're out there in outer space with the stars, and they're that would be like their throne. They're ruling that, Yet and still, right? You got a space force. You got you have what is it called? A habitation and a military, right? Because they have the space force. So you have a habitation, which is that that modular, that they're calling it a hotel, but you have the habitation and you have a military. that goes into you ruling. You know what I mean? Putting your throne, like a throne, above the stars of Yahweh. Like, hey, I'm gonna put my throne. Yeah. Ain't the missiles supposed to be like stars, like fallen stars? So yeah, he putting his throne above the ICBMs, and I will set also upon the mount of the congregation, right? Dealing with the they conquered us as the Israelites, but also they're in that land. They're in the land of Israel, saying it's theirs, that they're Jewish, right? But they wish they were a Jew, right? Just in the sides of the north, right? Dealing with North America, NATO, EU, and America. That's how they have it. That's how they ruling it. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds and be like the Most High, right? Because they're changing times and seasons. Got the harp thing that can make it rain or earthquake or whatever, right? They can tell you that a GMO vegetable is going to have more nutrients than the vegetables that the Most High created, right? Let's see. Yet thus shall be brought down to hell, right? Like I've been saying, people, hell is not a burning place in the ground. It's talking about slavery. Hell is either the grave
or low condition, and they're going to be brought down to both, basically, right? Into slavery and be killed by the sword, right? To the sides of the pit, right? Which is talking about slavery. To the sides of this pit, they that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee, right? All these other nations are starting to see what, through the economic hardship of America and the collapse of the dollar, which is eventually going to happen. They're going to narrowly look upon them, because at one point in time, a white man had to just speak, and people are just at awe and just, oh yeah, Mr. so-called self-proclaimed white man, you said it must be so. But now people ain't looking at it like that. Narrowly look upon thee, consider thee, right? Consider that you lying. They're gonna be considered, yeah, he lying. Yeah, he'll say anything because everybody knows America's going down. Say, is this the man, right? Which prove Satan or Lucifer is not someone with a pitchfork waiting for you to go down to a burning place called Hades, or whatever the freak you want to make up. And this has nothing to do with Hades, right? It's talking about putting them in a low condition into slavery. Is this the man that made the earth to tremble, right? Hiroshima, Nagasaki, America, NATO, EU, basically NATO, EU, and America, right? The so-called Jewish, right? They were responsible for Hiroshima and Nagasaki. They were responsible for, even at one time, Russia went into a Great Depression. They were responsible for that. Why? Because they were at war with America, dealing with the Cold War. And the only reason why the Cold War stopped is because the international bankers put more taxes, in a sense, on Russia, and collapsed their dollar, right? But Russia says they're not worried about that now. Russia has more missiles, ICBM missiles, than any country in the world, right? Is this the man, right, dealing with Esau, Edom, NATO, EU, America, and then Russia's Edomites too? But America's going to be decimated as to the point that no one's going to live there. Made the earth to tremble and did shake kingdoms, right? Right, through the international bankers, like what's going on in Nigeria. No one can eat. People are starving. They don't got that much food, and that's happening all over Venezuela, and that's coming to America soon. So, this is Isaiah chapter 47, verse 12. Stand with thy enchantments, right? Because your enchantment is what? You pray to Satan, and what is it? The world's filled with gross darkness, right? With all your lies, because you have came and deceived the world, right? To believe that you're the Romans and you were the Greeks, and then you're Jewish, and you're European, and you're American, and you're white, right? Because in 1681 in West Virginia, in a court on stolen land, through your own law system, you created the word white, and that's where white people come from, right? Because before that, there was no such thing as white. You were Edomites, right? Or Idumean. So you deceived the world to call you something else, to transform yourself into that Satan transform himself into an angel of light by saying that you're Jewish, right? All lies, all enchantments, and with the multitude of your sorceries, right? Dealing with your medical, your pharmakia, your science falsely so-called, saying you could cure this, saying you could cure that, you got this, you got that, when ultimately you're the one who make these diseases, or if you don't make them, you keep them, and then you distribute them back out amongst the people, so you could have this narrative that you come out and you're this savior, you're this loving person who everybody needs to come to when they need help. But you use that all for to lure people into being destroyed, right? Your sorceries within wherein thus has labored from thy youth, right? From your youth, you did that, right? Because America's fairly a young country compared to other countries, right? And you did that from your youth, starting with the smallpox, right? You put that in the blanket of the Native Americans, right? And then you turn around and made it seem like you were a good guy because you moved them to another place, and then you put them over here, and no one really talks about the tiered trails, and no one is outraged about it. No one's outraged about the Devil's Punch Bowl, right? And all the other million things that you have done when Jake has risen up to some type of prominence, beyond Black Wall Street, because there's other places, right? Though that was even on a reservation, right? That was Jake getting together, Southern Kingdom and Northern Kingdom, that actually made Black Wall Street. Keep going. Yeah, you've been doing it since your youth. America's young. If so be thus shall be able to profit, right? Right? If this is going to benefit you not to go into slavery, right? If somehow you think you could trick the Most High into giving you the blessing that belongs to Jacob, go ahead, see if it profits you. If so be thus may it prevail, hey, keep up. Keep praying to Satan. Keep coming up with all these different things. Hey, if it may be so, maybe it's you prevail. Try it out. I mean, you've been doing it since your youth anyway. Thus are weary in the multitude of thy counsel, and right now, what you are about to come down on Jakes, on these simple Jakes, really trying to come after the elect, those that are keeping the commandments of Yahweh and the faith and the testimony of Yahweh Hamashiach, Yahweh Shai Hamashiach, it's like a Yahweh Shai Hamashiach. Yeah, slip of the tongue, but not with the heart, but with Yahweh Shai Hamashiach. Right? We have the testimony of Yahweh Shai Hamashiach. Right? And you're really trying to come after the elect because you know that means you're doomed. Right? And you're weary with your counseling. You got somebody weak like Vocab, and you got all these other Jakes going out there with guns and painting on trains and things that they may that the ministry may be blamed, but we're blameless before Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. Who can judge us? Right? That's what the Lord said. No one can. You cannot be judged if you have the love of Yahweh Shai. No one can judge you. Roughly paraphrasing. You know what I mean? Let your astrologers, right, dealing with NASA, right, and these people going into outer space. You let your astrologers and your stargazers, you know what I mean, and the monthly prognosticators stand up, right, May they find a way to create something, right? No, because you got laser guns too now. So let them create you a laser gun, and let them create you weapons and space stations and what'd you call it? What did Trump call it? A space force. Let's see if it's going to benefit you. Let's stand to and save thee. See, you're looking to be saved from these things that shall come upon thee, right? And that's ultimately what you're doing. This is Amos chapter 9, verse 1. And I saw the Lord standing upon the altar, and he said, smite the lintel of the door. Yeah. You know, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai upon the altar. And he said, smite the lintel upon the door that it may shake, which is going to shake because the earth is going to roll to and fro like a drunkard from the ICBM missiles hitting Russia and then the western part of the world, and then back on the east part of the world hitting China, and then back on the western part hitting America. So it's going to go back and forth to and fro like a drunkard, right? It's going to shake that it may shake and cut them in the head, which is talking about their power, their infrastructure, the elite, their military, all of them. And I will slay the last of them with the sword, right? And whoever left is going to get smite with the sword, which is what the ICBM missiles. He that fleeth away shall not flee away. Like, though you're so-called think you're trying to escape into outer space, right? Into these different bunkers, you're not really escaping. You're not going to flee away. And he that escapeth of them shall not be delivered. So you're not going to be saved. It's not going to save you. Though they dig into hell, right? So that explains right there that hell doctrine was false from the beginning. They just did that to get you to stay in church and to control you and to get your money. Because if they put fear on you, oh yeah, you can go to hell. Should you rob God of his money? You're gonna go to hell if you rob. Oh man, here's some money. You know what I mean? When you read the scripture about the guy who asked, was it Peter and them? He was wondering if he could buy, but the dude was sincere because he was like, oh no, Lord, I didn't. But he was asking, can he buy? He's like, oh no, you better ask the Lord if he can forgive you. You talking about you can't buy the Holy Spirit, and that's technically what they have you in violation of, like you're trying to buy the Holy Spirit. But let me keep going. But you can't be delivered, though they dig into hell. So you wouldn't dig into a burning place that's meant for torment and destruction to be saved, right? That's what deliverance means, to be saved. Thence shall my hand take them, which is starting with Yahweh Shai and 144,000 and King David. Though they climb into heaven, right? These international space stations, their hotels, their mansions in heaven. I mean, in outer space, right? Which is basically like the second heaven, right? Just beyond the firmament of this world. Thence will I bring them down, right? And you're still not going to escape. You're still going to come down and be into slavery, man. Though they hide themselves in the top of Carmel, right? And you can watch a movie like Terminator, John Connor, as he's a young man. Arnold Schwarzenegger's come as the Terminator to protect him, to keep him safe. And at the end, they didn't stop, Skynet from kicking in on power. So the only thing that he could do was to put them in to that military base that was in a mountain in order to save them, right? So that way he could be preserved to fight another time, which is not going to happen for you, right? You're not going to have a great military coup, basically. Yeah. Yeah, you in the Carmel, you in these mountains, then I will search them and take them out thence, and though they hide themselves, though they hide from my sight, Salakia, in the bottom of the sea, right? Because they got bunkers in the bottom of the sea. They even got hotels right now. So that proves it. Like, that's that thing. They were trying to, test it out. Even then, that's why they have some certain hotels under the sea and stuff already. Same thing what they're doing now. They're trying to make it like it's a hotel to trick the masses to think, oh, it's just a hotel that only rich people can go to because it's so expensive. No, it's their way to escape the coming destruction of the ICBM missiles and their slavery. Thence will I command the serpent, which is Leviathan, and he shall bite them, right? And to give you an example of Leviathan, it's basically Godzilla. It shoots sparks and tempests and everything, just like Godzilla. And it's real. Leviathan. Right? Not the Leviathan that's Esau. The Leviathan that's actually in the sea. Because we know that Esau is also a Leviathan, but this Leviathan is going to be controlled by the Most High and will not be beaten. Right? The Lord's going to allow Esau to come down, right? Which is a different type of Leviathan, which is Esau, Edom. He's coming down, right, via through these ICBM missiles, like we're talking about right here. And though they go into captivity, right, because Esau, you're going to go into captivity before their enemy, right, which are the Israelites, and all these other nations, really. All these other nations are going to narrowly look upon you, right? Thence will I command the sword, right? So it's still, you're still going to get the sword. And it shall slay them, and I will set my eyes upon them for evil and not for good, right? So the thing that's coming to Esau, Edom, whether you're Edomite that lives in Gog and Magog, so it's confusing the people, and they don't think that you're actually Edomites, you're still finna get slayed by the sword. The Lord's still gonna look on you for evil and not for good, right? And Yahweh, power of hosts, which means armies, right? And the missiles are the Lord's soldiers. Is he that toucheth the land, right? He's going to destroy the land of America completely and turn it to a desert. And then there's certain strategic places in Russia and China and Iran and Israel and some other places in the world that's going to get hit with ICBM missiles, right? But none of them are going to get totally destroyed like America. Right, because this part's talking about America, and it shall melt, right, which is going to be America. It shall melt, and all that dwell therein shall mourn, and it shall rise up wholly like a flood, right? And the Lord's going to rain a holy flood of ICBM fire upon you, right? And shall be drowned, right? Oh, dang, it's like you're drowning. As by the flood of Egypt, right? Which the Lord said what? He's going to make what? A lake of fire, right? And a lake you know what I mean, is basically, you know, like a river. You mean? Revelation chapter 20, verse 8. And shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four quarters of the earth, Gog and Magog, right? Which are Edomites, but you got NATO, EU, and America, right? And it's going to go into that, to gather them to the battle, right? Because that's who's set to battle, right? To Edomites, right? Because like I said before, previous in a lesson, that one time I was in between sleep and awake, and I felt the Lord speaking to me, and it was like something was being explained to me, that what Esau blessing is a sword, and the Gog and Magog are Edomites too. So the blessing of the sword has to come from Esau to destroy NATO, EU, because they're both Edomites, right? Because people keep talking about China and how big bad China is. China is not going to beat America, NATO, EU, and America in a battle alone. Yeah, they outnumber them, but the blessing belongs to Esau. So the Lord had said that if a nation, right, which is the Edomite nation, come against itself, a house shall not stand. So Gog, which is Edomites, are going to gather together to battle, the number of whom as the sands of the sea, right? Dealing with the Israelites, because this story is about Esau and Jacob, because of course they're going to come against Jacob too, but they're also going to come in battle against what? Babylon the Great, that whore, right? And they went up on the breadth of the earth, and compassed the camp of the saints, right, coming against the Israelites about, and the beloved city, right, which would be America, right, Babylon the Great, and fire came down from heaven, right, which is the ICBM missiles coming upon America and Gog and Magog, right? Several strategic places that the Most High have around the world, down from Yahweh out of heaven, which is the ICBM missiles, to devour them, and the devil that deceived them were cast into the lake of fire and brimstone, which is going to be America. Whereas where the beast, which is NATO, right? NATO and EU and America, NATO, EU, and America, and the false prophet, which is what Rome, talking about the Roman Catholic Church, is the false prophet, are and shall, because Rome is going to get hit. The false prophet would be Israel, right? Because they're saying that the Israelites, only prophets come out of Israelites, right? And shall be tormented day and night, right, into slavery. So what all the Edomites, whether you're from Gog or Magog, or you deal with the Jewish, which rule over Britain, which basically in turn really actually rule over America, is going to go into slavery and going to be tormented day and night and forever, right? We're at least 4,000 years.